Hey everyone, it's Tom Seymour from VHS Massacre. How you doing? Today I'm going to make a video on some various things about film festivals, entering film festivals, and how to do it, what to enter, what to expect. So I guess this video is more about managing, reaching high, reaching for your dreams and trying to do that, but then also the reality of some film festival statistics. So we'll dive into that a bit. So I'm going to start off with some good news. This will have relevance, I promise. So recently we got 2 wins for my latest documentary feature, which is in film festivals now, called Video Dreams. And so it's about trying to get your film on the shelf at Blockbuster. That was something I was able to do in my career. And I just remember, being in a bar maybe like 10 years ago. And I was talking to someone, we were talking about films. And I was like, one of my films, London Betty, was one of the last films on the shelf at Blockbuster. And I was talking to this person who's actually a stand-up comedian, and they're like, wow, that's one of the most irrelevant things anyone's ever said to me. It was funny at the time. It hurt my feelings, but I was like, that is funny, So you just gotta, not take yourself too seriously, especially with stuff like that. But it made me think about things in that context of like, wow, is this stuff relevant? It's not, but it was important to me, So as years rolled on, I thought, I should really make a documentary about my whole experience and what that meant. Not everyone understands what that meant to become a direct-to-video film director, and like that. For some people, that was their dream. They had more humble dreams. Instead of this Hollywood fame, they were thinking, we can make films in our hometown, get them distributed nationally and all around the world, and we can have a career. And I was born into a time where that dream almost existed. Barely. By the time I made my first feature film, it was the late 90s. And then by the early 2000s, that dream was starting to fall apart because of a number of things, media consolidation, and then eventually the death of video store, which in a lot of ways, it kind of killed the robustness of the low budget filmmaker, because filmmakers could make a living for a little while at a brief moment in time. I was talking to this guy, Doug, from Doug TV. He said, the record industry was similar. The exact time frame, I forget what he was talking about, probably like mid to late 90s into the 2000s. There was a sweet spot where things were selling, like everything was selling, CDs were selling. So you could sign a band who would record a record in their garage, and then the studio, the record label clean it up and put it out, and then put them on tour and then make a little money, In the film world, soft definitions, but the problem with just calling something low budget is that that's misused, because they could call a $20 million low, but film low budget. It doesn't really make sense anymore. So lately I've been using the term no budget. It just kind of denotes used car price films, but that being said, so we had these dreams of becoming professional, independent filmmakers, and I never gave up on that dream, and that's what Video Dreams is about. Long story short, too late. This is the deal with film festivals. Statistically, you will not get into most of them. If you're doing great, if you're killing it, you will get into maybe 1 in 3, 30% maybe. If you're doing average, there's some probably some debate on this, but 1 in 4, maybe. This is a hard pill to swallow because often you're spending a lot of money. You could be spending, to enter 4, it could be almost $300 to enter 4 film festivals. Hopefully it's not. You got to look for deals, and I'll talk about some of that stuff, how to find deals and whatnot. But so this can be a hard pill to swallow, and some people believe that the film festival circuit is just not worth it. My goal with the film festival circuit is to screen in as many cities as possible. This is my theatrical run. So if you think about it, the cost of renting out a single theater in New York City, I live in Queens, that could cost a couple grand to rent out a theater. And or I could submit to some film festivals and get a screening at maybe Film Noir Cinema, maybe Anthology Film Archives, a number of places that could screen the film. And so, playing in a major city, a couple theaters, and then I try to do that maybe for San Francisco or for Chicago, and then in the United Kingdom, to try to play all over there. We had great success. We played in 4 or 5 film festivals in the United Kingdom. We have the upcoming Spirit of Independence, which is a British Independent Film Award qualifying festival, which means it's well respected. Torino Underground in Italy, we're playing. And so far we've gotten about 22 official selections and 12 wins, with a selection rate of, right now it's over 50%, but it's probably going to drop. And we're about halfway through with, in regard to the selections, the notification dates. And so lately I've just been noticing a lot more rejections than acceptances. That's fine and that's normal. There's a time of year for festivals. A lot of stuff happens around Halloween, especially with this type of film. Video Dreams, a VHS Massacre story. A lot of the films I made were genre films. So this film, like, for instance, we just got into Montreal Requiem Fear Fest, which is awesome. Huge fan and honored to be part of that. That is like a film. It's a film convention and a festival. And in Montreal, it's becoming one of the de facto more prominent festival convention things. So it's pretty awesome to be in that. And that came at a really good time because we had gotten like a number of rejections that can hit you hard. And you just you got to think of it mentally like you have to think of it mentally like you're knocking open doors, and potentially behind every third door is a prize. Sometimes behind every fourth door is a prize. It's all about how many doors you're willing to kick open to get to that prize. It takes a lot of effort. In this case, Tim Coolig and I, who I partner with on my films, we knew this. We saved up some money. We put it aside for a film festival run. And one of the things we did was we signed up for the gold account in Film Freeway. That will give you discounts. I think it's at least 10% off the festivals right off the bat. So if you're going to enter a number of them, like a good number to enter is maybe 30. Okay? So you sign up for the gold account. That's going to knock 10% off every festival you enter. Okay? The second thing we did was under the promotions tab, you'll see the ability to send your film. You make a press kit online and on Film Freeway, and I think it was like $250. The gold account chopped it in half, so it was only $125. Tim and I split it, $60, $65 a piece, something like that. And what it did is all 14,000 film festivals would get an email and it would say, check out this film. It would have the trailer. And it would say, do you want to send a waiver? So 12 film festivals sent us a waiver. We entered about 10 of those for we would have done the full 12, but a few of them we were holding out for specific other festivals within that city. We didn't want to jeopardize premiere status. So we got 10 waivers, which average price is probably $60. That's $600. Okay? We only paid $65 a piece for that, you know? And then the other thing to do is on Film Freeway, you can browse by, I think I can bring that up. You can browse by, look at, here are some of the filters. So we want to do film festivals and online festivals and awards events. These are good too. There's some good ones. We like Impact Docs. We just won an award out. There's some ones that are actually respected. So this is not a bad thing to look out for. Ours is a documentary. It's a feature. It's a bit experimental. Festival focus. Maybe action adventure. Maybe comedy, horror, maybe sci-fi, underground. It's weird. The doc has a lot of different films in it. And that will hone in a little bit. And then project runtime. It's a feature. So it's 83, something like that. You can adjust the entry fee. This is interesting too. Look down here. If you're interested in this type of stuff, Academy Award qualifying festivals, BAFTA film festivals. It says qualifying festivals underneath. If you click on this, there are other national awards that are Academy Awards equivalent or similar national awards equivalency. So Canada has the Canadian Screen Awards. So we actually won at Vancouver Horror Show in 2020 for our film VHS Massacre 2, which was a Canadian Screen Award qualifying. Now, we didn't win a Canadian Screen Award, but that's definitely bragging rights. That's like the next best thing to getting nominated, to be in that pool where they would pull from, you know? And there are a number of Academy Award qualifying festivals like Austin, Slam Dance, Rain Dance, of course, Sundance, and things like that. Doc NYC, that's what we're trying to get into. There's trending now in the spotlight, most popular, top 100, visionaries, documentary. So there's all these. This is interesting. Deals. Let's go to deals. 50% off, 70% off. This looks awesome. Eastville. I'm going to enter this one. Probably next month, unless something happens that we have waiting in the wings. There are a number of festivals here. You want to make sure that they're somewhat known. You have to go through the festival, and you have to look on the page, make sure there's no AI. You have to go to the website. Go to the social media, what awards it has. It's nice when they give out more than just one or two awards, because then they potentially have, you have more chances to win. Wiki, the world's fastest screenplay contest. Yeah. You just want to make sure, if your goal is to have a screening, make sure you look through the website and make sure there's a legitimate place that they have a venue and they're screening at. What? Smodcastle? Dude, I'm totally marking that. That's Kevin Smith, I think. Wow. I'm glad I stumbled onto that. So, the point is why do I know that that's cool? Because I know what Smodcastle is, and I know who Kevin Smith is. So you have to kind of immerse yourself in this world, and try to look for deals, but also look for legitimate festivals that you can have a chance at. That is something to keep in mind. You should aim for the stars. On Video Dreams, I entered. Yeah, like I said, I entered Slam Dance. That's a very long shot. That's Christopher Nolan broke into the industry with Slam Dance. He didn't break in the UK. They They didn't think he was that cool yet. He broke in Slamdance, got popular here, and then the UK were like, oh, I guess he is good, right? And so I entered Slamdance, but not Sundance. Sundance is, not to bash them, but it's such an extension of the studio system in Silicon Valley at this point that it's just more of a corporate event that they just don't have that many spots. If you don't have an agent, if you don't have a major distributor who already paid to make the film, they just don't have that many spots open for no budget filmmakers, So there is a reality to that. But if you have your heart set on it, you should do it. You should enter it. But then also you should make you should have a 3-tiered list. The second tier would be more like city film festivals, and it doesn't have to be the main one. Like I was saying, there's the San Francisco, I think, International Film Festival. That's so big. That's a top in the world, maybe top 5. That's so big that they're very expensive films typically, but San Francisco Indie Fest is the Slamdance of San Francisco. So that's, in a weird way, it's just respected, but it's respected because they take more like independent occult and stuff. So it's like different flavors. There's a reason why there's multiple film festivals in every city, because they do different things, So that's something to take into account. So, you enter, I would say, pick maybe, if you want to do the top, maybe pick 5 of the top festivals that most closely you think your film would go in. But also keep in mind, too, there are top film festivals in the world, like Cannes or like Venice, maybe Toronto, Sundance, New York Film Festival, stuff like that. South by Southwest, I think, gets in there. But there are top genre festivals in the world, right? So I think Fantasia is one. CineQuest, maybe, FilmQuest. So there's different types of top festivals, which is also very fascinating too. So look at what you have for a film. And I'm telling you, if you made a sci-fi film or a horror film, this becomes much easier because so many of the horror film festivals are identifiable. And horror is one of those genres where very often they don't care if it's like, very often they don't care if there's stars in it, if it's a great horror film. They don't care if it's low budget, if it adds to the horror, so and in some cases a horror movie, it's like, I always say, like, horror films are like pizza. It's like, even a bad pizza is still pizza, it's not that bad. So, it's, if you've made a horror feature, then you're in a, I'm not saying it's easy at all. But it's easier to submit to, because if you think about it, let's say you've made a drama film with no stars in it. We did that. We made a 16 millimeter dramatic feature called Everything Moves Alone, and it played in like New York International Independent Film Festival, California Indie Fest. It got some play, but it never really went anywhere. It's very hard to distribute drama, a no budget drama with no stars in it, so that's something to keep in mind too. So the last tier of festivals is like, you want to look for smaller ones that are really honed in to what you have, so if it's a trauma style horror film, then you definitely want to aim for festivals that are, you hear the term like underground or exploitation or cult. If it says cult film, that's a really good thing. If it's sort of a fun horror movie, a cult film is a good way to refer to that. And then you hear a lot of festivals that's like truly independent. They'll use the term like real independent, truly independent. This is them usually trying to signal that that like we're not playing $40 million films and saying that they're independent, so that's some of the strategy with festivals, but in regard to what we have going on here, Requiem Fear Fest. Anyway, so the goal is, if you enter 30 festivals, you have a reasonable chance of possibly playing in about 10 cities. It's not always true, but sometimes you'll play in 10 cities. And that's incredible. Our strategy is to try to play in 40 cities. I don't know if we can, but if we played in 40 cities, and then the film goes to streaming, it should have some buzz. And then after that, this is something I literally found out 2 or 3 years ago with people who seem to be doing well in the physical media realm, is that, believe it or not, it's released on streaming. First it's a paywall, then it becomes like the free streaming sites. Actually, recently, VHS Massacre 1 and 2 got on Screambox, which is absolutely incredible, right? So those were, I think we spent $500 on a piece on making VHS Massacre, put it out through Trauma. They go on Peacock TV, Movie, every streaming site, most except for Netflix, of course. And then years go by, things fizzle down. Nope. Screambox. We get on Screambox, which is like it's one of the top horror sites. It's basically Shudder and Screambox kind of go back and forth as number one, depending on who you talk to. So this is proof, like, you can do it. I'm not doing anything special. It's just that VHS Massacre was a doc that it was feature-length doc about trauma films and stuff like that. But it was also about it was somewhat about trauma films. It was more about the decline of physical media and the near death of the American video store. So that, and then the second one was more about how streaming is kind of pushing out cult films. So it managed to sort of get in the zeitgeist, and they were enormously popular. So Video Dreams, a VHS Massacre story, in a weird way, is a prequel to that, because the end of the film ends up to be that. But it's proof that you can do it. These were shot with a Blackmagic camera, but sometimes we're using cell phone footage, which I'm not bragging about. I hate when people brag about shooting on your phone. Try not to do that. It was primarily shot with the Blackmagic cinema camera, both. There was a few instances where we're in like a video store and we have to keep a very low profile shoot. We had permission, but we just didn't want a bunch of camera gear, so that's all that was. But we also in 2022 we put out Exorcism of Fleet Marish, which is a feature-length horror film that I directed with John Gorman, and Tim Kulig did the score for and produced. And that one did really well. That was distributed. Let's look. Tubi, Movie Central, Horror Central, Roku, Fossum, Indie Pix. Yeah. So that one did pretty well. That's a feature-length horror film. I don't know if I said this already, but you premiere in the film festivals, you do streaming. Then if you go to physical media, you approach companies to do Blu-rays. They might bite on it. And actually, Vinegar Syndrome put out this movie called American Expendables. American Expendables is about direct-to-video action stars like Cynthia Rothrock and Bolo Young. So recently it got on Cineverse, which this is the craziest part. This is a doc I just did in my spare time, did the best I could, used Tim Kulig's music, and we put it out through MVD. I didn't know what this is going to be. We tried our hardest, but it was very limited what we were doing. So we put the film out through MVD. It seems to track pretty well. It ends up doing okay. We approach ETR Media, which distributes through Vinegar Syndrome. They like it. They put out a beautiful Blu-ray of it with all these extras. There's 3 films on it. There's Fountain of Death, which is the director's cut, one of my old films. There's MacLeod, about composer Kevin MacLeod. That's another doc. And then there's American Expendables. So it's like 3 movies in one. So we put this movie out through ETR, which is partner label Vinegar Syndrome. So all of a sudden my film's on Vinegar Syndrome. Like one of these labels that's like essentially like the cult version of Criterion. Very hard to get onto, so amazing, and then some time goes by and then ETR works a deal with Cineverse. Now Cineverse is interesting because Cineverse bought the Toxic Avenger reboot, Lloyd Kaufman's Toxic Avenger, who's directed, the film was directed by Macon Blair. So Lloyd's in American Expendables as well. So lo and behold, American Expendables is on Cineverse. They also, I think have the Terrifier series. I think they're producing Terrifier 3, or they own Terrifier 3, something like that. So what you have is a situation where you can make a film, and even though it's a little film, big things can happen. And so that's basically my message, is that you will get way more no's than yeses. You will hit a million roadblocks. Even with this film, we got turned down. There's a lot of people we want to interview that just wouldn't get back to us, wouldn't respond to us, So it was uphill battle all the way to get this done. And then, here, let me show you. So, Video Dreams, this was a long process, a year and a half of editing, because it's a film primarily built in the editing room, because there's so much archival footage. But it does have Debbie Rochon and Lloyd Kaufman and archival footage from Joe Bubriggs. And so it ends up being a pretty fascinating watch. So, moral of the story is you gotta just kind of be used to rejection. You have to put yourself out there a lot. I found success in the festival circuit. But what is interesting is, aside from people like who make videos like me, no one knows you got rejected, right? So if you have a film out and you have, like right now we have 22 official selections, we have 12 wins. If anyone heard that, they'd be like, that's pretty promising. That sounds really good. And so they don't know that we also had like 20 rejections, So, and I imagine by the time the film, when the circuit is done, we'll probably have twice as many rejections as exceptions. And then of the exceptions, at best, there's only going to be half of them that are wins, And that may only because there are certain festivals and contests that will do multiple awards, like sci-fi, horror, and action does. They have additional categories. If anyone's interested, right now we have Video Dreams is going to screen Montreal Requiem Fear Fest on September 20th or 21st. Got to look at the specific date for that. I don't think it's listed yet. Lake County Film Festival has one more screening tomorrow, which is Sunday. Spirit of Independence. That's the BIFA qualifying film festival, which, if you don't know, the best equivalent of the British Independent Film Awards would be the Spirit of Independence over here. So that's their equivalent. They have BIFA and BAFTA. Those are their major awards. Here we have, I don't know their TV awards. I'm not sure what they have. We have Academy Awards. We have, for Independent, Spirit of Independent Awards. But then you do have Golden Globe Awards. I think that's international. And then you have, TV's Emmy, the Emmy, which is also cool. All right, so you got Torino Underground Cinefest, September 25th through October 4th. So you got to look for a specific screening date if you're in Torino, Italy. Very cool. Phantasmagoria, excellent film festival. It's the Welsh premiere and screens October 5th. And then the Synesthesia Film Festival in Portugal. I got to look at that one. I don't think the dates are announced yet, but it's very cool. So, just shout out to all the film festivals that selected our film. Deeply honored. This one is very personal, and I appreciate being a part of it. And for all you filmmakers out there, you absolutely can do it. Whether you're making you'll probably make an Mark of the Beast was a $6,000 film. We paid almost a third of that went to salaries for some of the more famous performers, and then the rest just went to mostly food, and because everyone was volunteering on it, and some makeup effects, but not and so. That's proof that you can do it. Documentary you can do for even cheaper. Drama, I've been able to do that for $9,000. You could probably do it cheaper. You really got to cast right for that, man. You need knockout talent for drama. That's the problem. Some of the genre films, the talent can be scrappier. It can be, I was in a lot of my films. I don't consider myself an actor. And then, different genres. We did comedy. Comedy's hard without stars in it. But they're cool. They're fun. Definitely worth. They can get distributed. They can. It's just a genre that seems to be slowly coming back now. We didn't have a lot of comedies for the past 5 years, so hopefully we'll have some. I don't know. Sci-fi is good, but in order to be taken seriously, there's this concept of elevated sci-fi or elevated horror, but it depends what you're doing. You can make campier sci-fi that people love, and it doesn't have to be super expensive. So, Well, anyway, I hope this video was of some help. I feel like I bounced around a bit, but I think the message was just entering film festivals is tough. But I do think it can be important for a film. And it's something that you can do for yourself. If you spent years making a film and you believe in it, entering film festivals is something you can do to treat yourself and to treat that artist in you kindly. And at some level, maybe you owe it to yourself, and enter enough film festivals where you can get into a couple and maybe have a screening so friends and family could come and stuff like that. So that's another way too. You can do a screening for nothing if you really want to. You could just do it in someone's backyard or something, or a community center, the library. There's probably a number of places you can get for free if you really put your mind to it. All right, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.